Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing good. Children, in the Zoom class, I have already explained you the introduction of the genetics chapter. So today I am going to start. I am going to explain you few terminology which is very important for the genetics chapter. If you know these terminology, then only you will able to understand this chapter and the rules of the chapter. So you all are familiar with the genes that we have the genes and it is present in the nucleus of a cell. So Mendel used factors. First you can see it is a factors. So Mendel used the factors word for the genes. So you can say the genes, you can say the factors. So what are these genes or factors? They are the physical, they are the discrete, they are the different, they are the definite stable bodies that carry, they are the hereditary characters that carry the or that transmit the characteristics from parents to the offsprings. Johnson in the 1909 gave the term genes to these factors. Now next one is alleles or allelomorphs. So these genes exist as a alternative form in our body, in the nucleus. These genes that I have explained you in the first point, they exist as a pairs. They exist in the alternative forms. Alternative means opposite forms. So the alternative forms of the genes occupying or they are present at the same position on homologous chromosome. Homologous means same and affecting the same characteristics. So I told you the genes are found in the pairs and they carry the single character, but in the two alternative ways. For example, one allele for gene for hair color, it produces black, and the another one produces the brown hair in the form of alleles. Okay, so how it is possible, that I will explain you. Next one is homozygous. Homozygous, you can see in a bracket it is written, it is a pure breeding, an individual in which both the factor or genes controlling only one character. So in the Zoom class I told you that for denoting or for showing the tallness of a plant, so we are writing always capital T, so double capital T. For the shortness, that small t in the pairs. For showing the round seed of a pea plant, pea pod, we are writing the capital R. And for the wrinkled seed or any other shape, we can write the small r. So dominant character we always show with the capital letter, whereas recessive character with the small letter. So here you can see each letter is the same, so they are the homozygous gene. Now heterozygous gene, they are the hybrid. They have the one capital letter, you can see here in the example, and in the small letter. So an individual in which two factors or a gene controlling one character are dissimilar. Okay, so in this case you can see one is showing the tallness, the first one capital T, and the small t is showing the dwarfness, same as the capital R for round seed and a small r for wrinkled seed. So these alleles, pair of alleles, they are showing the dissimilar character. So remember, these are the just terms. Dominant allele is also called as super ruling. I told you that dominant allele, if present in the gene, it only rule. Okay, it suppresses it control the other allele, it control the other character of the gene. So dominant is a super ruling gene or allele. So in the heterozygous condition, if we will talk about this TT or RR, so we know it has the both gene for the tallness and the dwarfness, roundness and the wrinkledness, but the dominant will show the character. Whenever any cross we will make any cross, then what will happen, the dominant characters of in this gene T, capital T, is the dominant, and in this case round 1 is the dominant. So always remember that dominant allele will rule. It is also called as super ruling allele. Okay. So in the heterozygous condition, the allele which expresses itself morphologically, okay, these dominant alleles will only express itself, or you can say it suppresses the other gene, other recessive gene, small letter gene. So it is called the dominant. Example is allele for tallness of a pea plant, as I said. So remember that dominant is always expresses itself, and it will suppress the small letter gene. Now what is recessive? So recessive, remember, these is small letter. Recessive gene we always write with the small letter, okay, small alphabet. So in the heterozygous condition, the allele which does not express, so we know in this case T is expressed, capital T is expresses and showing its character, whereas of tallness, whereas this it suppresses the it suppresses the character of the dwarfness, this small t. So this small t and small r, in this case in the heterozygous condition, these are the recessive one, and capital T and R are the dominant allele. So very good example is given. So in the heterozygous condition, the allele which does not express itself physically and remains concealed or unexpressed is called recessive. I hope you understand what is homozygous, heterozygous. By examples are given in these terms, so you can easily relate also. Now what is genotype? So I explained you in the Zoom class also that the total genetic constitution of an individual, total DNA you can say present in the individual is called genotype. Okay, so definition is given that genetic constitution of an individual for any character, due to which it expresses itself, is called a genotype. So in this case examples are given. TT, suppose if we will talk about the tallness of a plant or tallness of any individual, so the TT, this complete set of gene is showing the tallness of an individual. So this total genome is called genotype, or become the genotype. In this case, hybrid case, it is TT, or in this dwarfness case it is TT. So these first and third is the homozygous, and the center one is heterozygous. Now what is phenotype? Phenotype, I also explained you in the Zoom class that phenotype is the morphological character, our physical character, our expression. You know, we all are having different features. We have different heights. We all look differently from each other. Some are having the black hair, some are having the brown hair, some are having different eye colors. We all are having different eye color also, and so the morphologically expresses of any character of an individual is called phenotype. So phenotype is our physical character. Remember this thing, physical character of an organism. So it can be tallness, dwarfness, it can be red flower, white flower, seed, I told you, round seed, wrinkled seed, hair color, eye color, all are the phenotype. Now what is the monohybrid? So monohybrid, you can see they are the pure alleles. Pure alleles, example is given, pure alleles of tallness and pure alleles of dwarfness. So when the cross is when the cross is done between a pure, this homozygous, so when a cross or breeding occur between the two individuals having a one pair of contrasting character, so they are having purely character of this pure tall plant and the pure dwarf plant. Okay, they are the homozygous. So what they will produce when we will do the Punnett, you can do and see with the Punnett square also. Okay, that I have explained you, but I will explain you further in detail. So in this case, when we will do the hybridization, So what we will get, what result we will get? We will get that all the plant will be hybrid. They are hybrid tall. All the 4 will be hybrid when we will do the Punnett square. So it producing all hybrid generation for that character, because you know all are having the dominant tall genes, T genes, capital T genes. Okay, so remember that in the hybrid case, in the heterozygous case, the dominant genes always rule. It is all, that's why dominant genes is called super ruling, whereas recessive gene is called subordinate or submissive, because you know that it suppresses, its character is suppressed by the dominant allele gene. So here you can see. So remember, when the breed between the 2 individual which is having 1 pair. Okay. Now, but in the dihybrid process we have the 2 characters, 2 pairs of contrasting character. So here we have a cross between the 2 individual. 2 individual, you can see they are having the 2 characters. So this seed, this pea plant seed, they are having it is yellow flower and round seed. They are yellow and the round seed, and here green and the wrinkled seed. So yellow color seed and the shape is round. Green color seed, but their shape is zigzag kind of shape, wrinkled shape. So when any cross done between the 2 contrasting character, it will produce a generation, okay, which is having a hybrid yellow and round seed. So in the F1 generation, it will produce the hybrid yellow, you can see hybrid yellow and round gene, in which the same thing, dominant gene will rule. So remember always, as I am telling you again and again, that the dominant gene is always ruling. So in the genetic chapter, these terminology is very important, because if you know the terminology, then you will understand other rules which is given by, or laws which is given by the Mendel. So first one, you know, I told you that whenever we will do the crossover, in the first generation we will get the hybrid and yellow seed. So what is what is the first generation? So in the bracket you can see that it is written first filial generation. So it is the first filial generation. Filial generation means a cross between the offsprings. Okay. So filial means we are just doing the crossing over between crosses between the offspring. The first, second and third generation are known as the first filial, second filial or the third filial generation, and we usually denote it by F1, F2 and F3 generation. So when you will open, you will see that in the diagram also, in the figure 3.7 which is given on the page number 31, you can see the crosses are given, diagrams are given 3.7. So in that it is written F1 and F2. So what is F2 and F1? This is F1 and F2 are the filial generation. It means a cross is going on or takes place between the offsprings, and they are showing that after the cross what we will get. So after the cross in the F1 generation, we are getting here in this 10th point, you can see hybrid and the round seed, because these two are the dominant. This individual is having dominant gene for round yellow and the round seed, this plant is having. So here F1 generation, you can see first filial generation, these hybrid generation, first filial generation produced in monohybrid and dihybrid crosses. So this you can see here in the monohybrid, this is the F1 generation and this is also the F1 generation. Now F2 generation produced on selfing, when this F1 generation of the monohybrid and dihybrid further do the hybridization. Okay, second hybridization we say F2 generation. So generation produced on selfing the F1 individual is called F2 generation. Now what is monohybrid cross? So in the monohybrid cross or monohybrid ratio, whenever we do the monohybrid cross, we will get a ratio like, you know, in the monohybrid ratio, we said that the kind of ratio obtained by crossing for a single trait A will be 3:1. So in the monohybrid ratio, we will get the 3:1. I will explain you when I will explain the laws or the crossing over. I will explain you how we will get this 3:1 ratio, and remember that monohybrid ratio will be 3:1 and the dihybrid ratio will be 9:3:3:1. So you should remember the ratio, because in the exam they are asking what is the ratio of the dihybrid cross and monohybrid cross, what is the phenotypic ratio, what is the genotypic ratio. So I will explain you when I will explain the crossing over to you. So this is just the terminology that we use. So monohybrid, remember that it is a monohybrid cross ratio which is 3:1, the kind of ratio obtained by crossing one single trait. Okay. So here you can say one single trait or character is tall and dwarf, 1:1. Okay, but here there are two characters. So dihybrid ratio is complex. So it is between the two traits of individual, two characters of individual, and the ratio will be, number should be same for all dihybrid, 9:3:3:1, as I said. 15th one is mutation. Okay, so mutation is the sudden change due to the radiations, due to the radiation, radioactive radiation and all, our DNA altered, our DNA changed shape. So mutation is the sudden change in the gene or any number of the gene or the structure of the chromosome, it changes, that is called mutation. So a sudden change in one or more genes in the progeny which normal may not have existed in the past generation, that is mutation. And it can happen when genes transmit from one generation to the another generation, because we are getting our genes from our forefathers only. So it happens, sometimes it happens due to the physical, chemical or any ways that our gene, a slight change of gene can come. And sometimes if the gene will become change, okay, at higher level, then what will happen, it will just cause the diseases also. So this is the albinism. Albinism is a disease in which people are having that they do not have the melanin pigment, so they lost the total skin pigment. Some in the Indian, our skin has the that melanin pigment, okay, but in some cases the people lost the skin pigment melanin, they do not have the melanin because of this mutation process, which is related to the genes, change in the genes, and people cause to albinism. Albinism is a diseases where they become the brown skin or white skin purely, and even their hairs have become that brown hairs, their even eyelashes, eyebrows, they are brown in color. So such these are the slight mutations. Now variation, I told you that the offsprings are getting the genes, hereditary genes of similar character they get from the parents only, but they are not at all purely look alike like their parents. So they have the slight variation, small change differences between the young ones of the parents. So they are due to the inheritance or hereditary, you can say. So when the these chromosome changes from or passing from one generation to another generation, it will bring the some slight change in the gene sequence. So that is called that result in the variation. So I hope you all understand this terminology. So these are very important. There are 16 terminology. Please go through it. Okay. Thank you and have a nice day. One more